All right, obviously, we play 10 Division I non-conference games, and in the 10 games this year, this was the only game that we were favored in by the metrics. And to not get the win, it hurts. This is one we felt we had to get because of how tough the schedule is. Give Eastern Michigan credit; they shot the ball extremely well. In the second half, they made a run at the start of the second half, and we talked about at halftime that the first 5 minutes was going to determine the game, and it did. It did. It made me look smart to them. Maybe they'll start believing I know what I'm talking about, because the first 5 minutes was the whole. It got them confidence. They made some shots. They went down from down 6 or 8 or whatever they were down to plus 4 or 5, and so that first 5 minutes of the second half really hurt us. But it's disappointing. From a game standpoint, I'm pretty pleased with where we're going defensively. We held them to 68 points in our building. That should get a win. And so, obviously we've said all year that our offense is pathetic right now, and it has been the whole season. We can't make shots. But tonight we were 20 of 29 inside the paint. And you should win a game when you're 20 of 29. So there's reasons we didn't win, and we just got to figure it out and get better.
Obviously you're not where you're at or where you want to be from beyond the arc, but did you feel yourself as the game went on kind of making a conscious effort to use your body and get to the rim more?
Yeah, definitely. I had Coach Bobby, Campy, and all the assistant coaches just telling me during the game, like, just get downhill, and then maybe you'll hit a shot. But Buru kind of set the tone down there, and Allen to start the game. So I just followed up after those guys, just try to get downhill and get some easy baskets.
Guys, you had a couple opportunities there, like you trimmed it to 4 multiple times. What was the difference? Why couldn't you just get over that hump?
Missed free throws. Got an and one. If I make that free throw, we're down 3, I think, yeah. And then we score. I think they miss a free throw or something, and Jalen gets to the line and splits them. And then at the end of the game, we're down 2 points. Make those free throws at the end of the game, and now we're shooting to win or go into overtime. And maybe with that difference, we have a little bit more confidence in that final play. But at the end of the day, we just got to be better from the line.
Obviously, when Michaela fouled out of the game, things definitely turned in favor of Eastern Michigan. What was the deal there? Just in terms of, obviously you guys know that you were going to have a big challenge with Allen being fouled out of the game. Mm-hmm. What changed?
I would say we just play with more urgency. With Allen out there, we kind of can find ourselves lackadaisical because he's such a good guy, good player down there. So we can find ourselves lackadaisical. But when he went out, me and Buru, we knew we had to try to will us to victory. Dan came in, he got a huge tip in. That was big. He got some good stops at the rim, which was huge. Overall, I just think we just got to be better as a team.
Final question for the players. Thanks,
guys. Coach, season's still young, obviously, but playing with a bit different tempo and style than you did last year. Is that by design, or is that kind of just based on the group that you have on the team?
It's really not that much of a difference tempo-wise. It's our point guard play is evolving right now, and I got mad at Jalen early. Here, our offense is really bad. I mean, it's historically bad, and the reason is half the guys don't know the plays. We call play, and 2 guys do the wrong thing. But when your point guard can't get you into play or, enters the ball to the wrong side of the floor when you're running something, it's going to cause problems, and that's where we're at, the first half we turned the ball over 7 times. We got, a 6 or 8 point lead. Our offensive efficiency was tremendous when we didn't turn the ball. There were 30 possessions in the first half. We turned it over 7 times. So in the 23 possessions that we didn't turn the ball over, we had 36 points. That's phenomenal. Okay, phenomenal. So the lead should have been 42-28 or 44-28, but because we kept turning the ball over, or we don't, we run the play wrong, or we're so uptight that we can't make a shot, that we take a bad shot, or we miss. I think we were 13 of 14 from the two in the first half. It was some ridiculous number. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was one miss in the first half. And yet we're trying to fire up three. We're 1 for 6 from the three. Why would we take a three? We're 13 of 14 from the two. Just keep pounding it in there. Make them double. Make them do something. But we're in such a panic to prove that we can play. You got DQ's a career 40% three-point shooter. Woody is, a career high 30% three-point shooter. And I think they're both shooting, in the teens. I mean, it's a ridiculously bad number. And instead of just letting it come and knowing that water will find its level and you'll make shots and, get good shots now, at least DQ in the second half figured it out, got to the rims, got some points that way. Christie is, Christie makes a shot, then the next one's an air ball. I mean, it's all up in their heads. And, our offense is historically bad right now. And that's why there's a chance we can turn this around, because water does find its level, right? And those guys can shoot, and we'll start shooting. But we got to get mentally tougher. And you give up 68 points at home, you should win.
It seemed like every time down the stretch, when you had a big defensive possession, you guys got the stop. But does that, obviously you're pleased by that, but does that, you kind of alluded to it, but how much hope does that give you that, they can turn around?
Well, they're not a great three-point shooting team. In the second half, they made 5 out of 10. But they got that run. They had that run where they made 3 or 4 in a row. And but that's what happens in college basketball. Teams make runs. Teams, they're scholarship athletes. Even if they're poor three-point shooters, there's going to be games they make some. And they made a couple. And we took that and we got back in the game. But when you can't make free throws and you can't make a shot outside of 5 feet, it's hard to keep battling it. And I'm pleased defensively. We've come so far defensively. That's great. But that's been the emphasis. And, one of the reasons I haven't really emphasized the offense, we're doing more in practice, is because I believe we got guys that can score. Their history is they can DQ's history, 40% three-point shooter. We know what Woody's done in this conference. Christie averaged 23 points a game in college basketball last year. I don't care what level it was. It was a top level of candidate at 23 points a game. He's got to be able to make some shots. And eventually they will. So we just got to keep getting better defensively. And this hurt because of what I said about, the rest of our non-conference games. There isn't one that we're favored to win. And, so you got to get the ones at home, and you got to get ones that you think you can get.
Camp, how strange is it for you to look down at that box score and see those numbers from the free throw line and from behind the three-point line?
Well, it's not who we've been, but eventually I've got to look at that and say this is who we are and just figure out a way. We got to figure it out. I can't have Alan McCabe committing 4 fouls all away from the ball. He committed 4 fouls of the 5 away from the ball. A handoff, he threw his hip. His 5th foul, he threw his hip. His 4th foul, he went over the top and slapped at the ball, frustrated because he missed a shot. His 3rd foul, he was guarding a guy on their team that I don't even know if he scored a point this year. And he's away from the ball in a wrestling match with a guy who's, the only reason the guy was in there was because he's a big physical guy and he wanted to tie up Allen. And Allen fell for the bait and fouled him. That just can't happen. And Coop committed some bad fouls also. We had some lineups out there we haven't had because we fouled out, 2 of the 3 guys. I do think Dang played pretty darn good, though, down the stretch defensively. Had a tip in on offense, too. So that was good to see. That gave me a little more confidence to go ahead and play him.